Sometimes we make mistakes and we die level 2 for no good reason, really. And that will happen to all of us in some games that are at some point, right? It will just happen. But that doesn't mean the game is over. There's plenty of League of Legends to be fought. And in this case, we'll watch Teddy do that exact same scenario and how he pulls through so we can learn from the situation and apply it in our own games. Let's break it down. In this lane, we're playing Yunara, Nico into Kai'Sa Rakan. It's quite a common lane that we can see at pro level. There was a fight over this bush here, as you can see due to this auto here on this ward. Let's take a look into how this went. Both teams have vision of this bush now. Due to the range advantage from Nico, we'd expect Yunara and Nico to get pushed for level 2. And let's take a look into what happens. Nico's going to go for a little bit of poke on the Kai'Sa if she can. Both attack very aggressively on the wave because it's very important to get pushed. Here, Teddy gets a short trade with his Q, splitting the damage a bit between both of them. That's okay. And now we're going to try to get level 2. So we're going to get level 2 after killing these minions. Very nice Q poke from the Nico over here. And the HP bar on Kai'Sa is looking a little bit worse. Time goes on. Interestingly enough, we can see that Yunara is not playing for a 2-wave crash, right? I think this used to happen a lot more often because you used to have the cannon wave on the 4th wave last season, but now we have cannon wave on the 3rd season again. So what we're seeing in these games is that people are going for a 3rd wave crash rather than a 2-wave crash. So in this case, right, like Yunara Nico had complete priority over this lane. Look at when the wave meets here in the middle, right? If Yunara wants to shove this wave, it's very easy, especially with Nico spells. What they want to do is to push an even bigger wave into the enemy tower, crash the 3rd wave. So let's take a look into why that happens and go from there. All right, so here 3rd wave is arriving and we are just looking. Ooh, okay, I thought we had Q there, but we didn't. We were missing a stack as well. Good zoning from Nico, getting some spells in, and here's the 3rd wave crash that we can see. So this is going to be the point that is highlighted at the beginning of the video. Level 2, we do a little bit of a W on Kai'Sa. Now we get the ignite from Rakan, and we barely live, but Kai'Sa W will get us the kill for the enemy team. Kind of unfortunate, right? We were not in a scenario where we needed to die, right? We were much stronger, but unfortunately things work out a little bit against us. Wave state-wise, this isn't that bad, right? We crashed our wave, and now we get a reset via death, right? All we want to do now is catch the wave that Kai'Sa is building. We have Cult, so that means we can scale a little bit better. All that good stuff that Cult also provides really decent healing, right? Yeah, they get this wave control. This is something you're going to see from these players, right? They're not going to let this wave crash, and if they can leave it alive, they will, for sure. Yeah, like, look at this. They're going to leave this alive, because this is going to deny Kai'Sa from being able to access the wave, right? So the difference is, if this crashes, it's going to happen the exact same thing that just happened to Teddy, right? Where it's like, he comes back to lane, and the wave is coming back to his tower, and it's all good. What happens when you keep the wave like this, it's that the wave will just get froze, right? Like these minions plus the next wave will be able to take out our own wave and therefore keep the wave like in this type of position. Which is quite good for us, right? We're close to our tower, we're very safe, the enemies have to walk up, and they want extended trades because we'll have lethal tempo, we have Q stacks, like it's just brilliant for Yunara to be able to run people down, so. Here Yunara gets to pull the wave, right? And since she just based, she's not really interested in getting any type of recall or anything. So at this point, she's just like using the situation, free farming, and denying resources from the enemy ADC. It's like perfect scenario to play. Kai'Sa is back to lane, but the minion wave is not that big, right? And it's also not even that close to our tower anymore, which makes it quite easy and manageable to keep the wave on our side. He's looking to skill check the Kai'Sa a little bit with auto Q. He manages to not get hit by the Rakan W, which is really good. Nico should be coming back from lane soon. We can't really see it because there's no map information. But since we are 1v2 in lane, we just have to accept this and take the wave under our tower. That's fine, right? It's not the end of the world. These minions are a little bit cooked in terms of HP, but he still manages to get another one. And notice how consistent these pros are with their CSing, right? Nearly 40 CS at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. It's just... these guys are good, right? They will often try to get these types of windows where they go for these spacing things. Like, look at this. Kai'Sa is going for the auto Q. Teddy is going for some type of auto damage there. And now he gets the double on Rakan. Doesn't want to commit to the Rakan because he wants to fix the wave state first, I believe. You gotta prioritize what you want to do. And very often, you want to keep the wave in a good spot, because that way you don't really have to trade if you don't want to, right? Anyway, with this wave here, you probably want to crash this wave, which is why we see him holding the Q and using instantly on the wave. Why is that? It's for the same reason we didn't want to get zoned here, right? Like, when we are in this part of the map, it's very easy for them to come to gank here or here. Like, it depends on the champions, right? When you do this type of dash, whatever. So we want to crash this in and get a safe recall. Ideally, when we crash this, we don't want them to hold the wave here like we did to them, right? Bit of the same thing going on here. We need to crash this wave so we can move with our lives, maybe spend our gold because we're getting to 1,000 gold that we have accumulated in our inventory, and we need to spend it so we're actually, in fact, stronger than Kais, right? We're level 5, she's level 4, but we do have a lot of this gold left to spend, right? So it's just something we need to do, and we should seek a base, and crashing the wave is the best way to give us time to do that. Kaisa goes very aggressively for a trade here, but it looks like we're getting ganked given the ping, so that's the Lee Sin. And the Kais is always dead here. Ooh, barrier play. Yeah, plus. Yunara still had their own barrier as well. Crash the wave. You get the 1 plate as well, right? In this season with accumulated crystals, it's quite easy to get 1 plate for free. Getting the second one usually requires a lot more work. We probably don't have the inventory for that. You probably want a few more swords. But let's see how Teddy plays it. He still wants to get that set. No, he wants to just crash the wave. Yeah, that makes sense. I think getting a second plate is quite difficult. But crashing this wave is doable. This will give him more time to recall from, right? So that's kind of what the goal is. Unfortunately, this jungler is coming to mess up our time. He also gets that XP from that wave, right? But overall, it's all quite good. Something I want you to keep in mind here is that we're basing in a safe place, right? Like, the Mundo is probably not gonna get to us. A Kaisa that will probably not get to us. But I believe that from this spot, you actually don't contribute to your own quests. So that can be a little bit worrying when you base from this spot rather than when you base inside your lane. If you can, it's probably best to avoid it just so you can get a little bit more passive quest completion. That would be ideal. But, you know, it doesn't matter that much. It's just a small optimization. So we base, we come back to a neutral wave state because what people are going to do here, they're not going to crash just one wave. They're going to try to crash multiple waves, right? Because when you crash a bigger wave than just like a small wave, then they have more time to do other things on the map, right? Otherwise, it's very easy to just CS it, and they get to build their own wave from their own way. So when you crash just one wave, it's not that good. When you crash 2 waves, you have time to like recall. You'll have time to roam if you want to like participate in a dragon fight. Of course, that is not something that happens this game. You have time to deep ward as well. Like, you can just go here, go to enemy jungle, whatever. That's something you can do after crashing a bigger wave, right? If the wave isn't small, then you really don't have much time for this because the Yunara won't be busy farming her creeps, right? She farmed her creeps and now she has free time. She can move back to lane. She can set up a trap in these bushes, or she can just like try to match you and find you and, you know, punish you for overstepping, right? Because we don't have a job anymore. Teddy, right? He's walking up to these 2, right? He is in a numbers disadvantage. But he has information that the enemy bot lane doesn't. And that I didn't have either, which was the Lee Sin is over here. Oh my god. Lee Sin is over here as well, next to him. He's not that close, but we can bait it out, which is interesting as well. So that's the choice that Yunara went for here. You need to keep in mind your own jungler's positioning, right? If your jungler is around, you can walk up here, try to get your creeps, whatever, farm it. But imagine the Lee Sin isn't here. Lee Sin top side. What do? You just stay the back. You just stay back. The wave state sucks. These minions are probably like gonna stay here a bit longer, but it is what it is. You have to accept your losses, or you walk up and you nearly die, right? He only doesn't die here because the Lee Sin is around. And that's really important to play around as well. It's really important to play around the jungler being on your side of the map or not being at all, right? So here we are reduced to 1 HP, right? Due to the nature of the play. The Lee Sin sends it. He just completely sends it, right? He's very strong. He has level 6, so he wants to play this fight. Flashes the Kaisa W. He's still on that, like, he's 1 HP. He has full plasma stacks. He wants to hover the Yunara just to give her a little bit of a shield before the play is done. And the Lee Q actually gets the kill on Kaisa. And then the EW forward from Yunara, not even needing flash. I probably would have flashed at some point earlier to catch Rakani here, but he holds flash and gets this situation for himself. This is amazing. Here you have really big wave, you could consider taking the plate, but at the same time, plates are bait. You have to spend so much time to get them. You crash the big wave, you reset, you get your items, and then you come back and you play the lane again. I'm actually kind of curious what he buys here. He buys recurve bow rather than getting the attack speed, move speed items. So that's another thing to look out for. We're hard pushing this, really hard. We don't know where Nico is in this spot. I also don't know where the Rakan is. Maybe there's a reason maybe there's a reason to play this way, but he gets a nice chunk over to Kai'Sa. I would say the next window where Yunara really wants to play is on this timer when we play for this ultimate cooldown. So 8 more seconds until we can play that. We also need to keep in mind that we are level 7 Yunara into a level 5 Kai'Sa. We are really strong here. If I could, yeah, I think going for a couple of Qs, well, you know, getting a little bit of damage onto Kai'Sa there is really good. And now we fight to the death on the ultimate timer. It's exactly how you'd want Yunara to play this, right? You play a little bit reserved. When you get your ultimate, you just go in there and you just play, you glide. And that's exactly what Yunara is doing. Now she's gliding. She's able to dodge. Just incredibly good display of mechanics from Teddy. And now gets the recall because he wants to spend his gold. Although, you know, if there's a window for this Rakan... Oh, beautiful. That's so well played. And now we crash this wave. And we get a bit more gold. I believe with this gold amount, we actually have enough for Kraken Slayer. Yeah, and now we insta-base. Like, we'd consider the plate there, but then, like, just base timer. Let's just see if it's Kraken Slayer gold. Pretty sure it is. Yeah, it's amazing. Such a good spot to play. We're going to crash the wave. It's 9:46. And what do we want to do now? We have Kraken Slayer. We're very strong and we can start to melt towers at this point. So that's the idea. Ooh, big Nico art. And now we just go for the kill on the Nico. Something I want you to keep in mind here. Since the Kai'Sa is very close to the tower, it's the use of the target champ select only being used here. Just to make sure that we're not going to misclick and fail a tower dive. This is something that it's quite more niche to practice if you don't get to play like a lot of dives, which is not that frequent, right? And solo queue dives are all sorts of chaotic, but that's part of why this is also successful, because sometimes you can just auto the tower instead. That'll happen more often than you'd want to admit. So that it's just another nice mechanic layer on how these things go well. And then you have a big wave, you have our Q up, and yeah, we just take the tower. Something you'll see these players do very often is they will let these minions die over to the tower. I'm not gonna lie, when I'm playing the game, I usually will just keep autoing the tower just to make sure I can leave this spot sooner. But they really value like getting rid of these minions for the enemy team and denying gold for the enemy team and remaining the map a bit longer. So that's something to keep in mind, that maybe you find the information useful. Here he's just going to proxy the wave. Probably has enough vision on the enemy bot side of the map to do this, and therefore allow the minions to kind of just get executed by the tower, costing the enemy team a bunch of gold, while also being safe himself. Although the Mundo is here, but maybe they have just enough jungle, or like they have enough of teammates around to just help him out in case he needs it, right? Maybe you don't trust your teammates in solo queue to cover you this way, but yeah. And that's the end of the laning phase for this video. I hope you like it. See how it went for him. There was a lot of jungle, you know, around in this type of game, which really facilitated him coming back to the game. But I think we could see some pretty cool things from Teddy. The way he played, the way he exploited his limits, the way he'd save his flash only for the play where he really needed it. Really good wave management. There was a lot of good stuff that we saw here. And hopefully you can apply some of these things to your game. And yeah, good luck out there in the solo queue. I'm Infinite. If you like this video, you can subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And you can always drop a like to the video. It really helps out the channel. And see you next time. Bye.